Guys, as you know, the most important rule for these laptops in these labs is make sure they are shut down when you are done with them. And make sure that they are plugged in and powered to a power source in the lab. So, sometimes when you guys shut down, and it's not your fault, you get that little message on there saying that it's updating. Just leave it on your desk, let it update, go to your next class. Don't just close it and stick it into the lab, because it's still going and it won't stop going until somebody else opens it up and finishes off the updates. So, the labs don't have fans in them. And so when the labs get closed up and then the laptops are on, they're just burning up. We lost, I believe it was 2 last year to the monitors. They all got overheated and the monitors just burned out. So this is the only, this lab came through with a grant. So it didn't come through the money that they actually use for computers in the school. So once these start going, that's it. We'll be down to 24, or let's see, there's only 24 in this one. So 23, 22. So we want to keep these for as long as possible. I really do like these. They're very fast. There are a few quirks in them that I don't like. I don't know how many of you like the little eraser head in the middle to use as a cursor. A lot of people don't like them, but some do. I like them because I type fast and my fingers stay on the keys, so I can use the little red eraser head as my cursor. The only thing I don't like about these computers is that your mouse buttons are the 2 red lines on your little keypad here. And if you are using the eraser head and your thumbs as the mouse buttons, you can hit the right mouse button and you get the little drop down menu, and you didn't want that. Or your thumbs are moving on the mouse pad and your cursor starts going all over the place, and if you do hit the button and you're in another place you don't want to be. That was a little frustrating. And I know some of you might get a little frustrated, get a little angry at these. Please don't bang on them, pick them up, drop them, that kind of thing. We do not want any damage to these. Now, I know you all signed your acceptable use policy and you read it from beginning to end, didn't you? All the rules apply. Do not switch the keys on the keyboards. It is not funny and it ruins the keyboards. If you manage to even switch 2 of these keys and didn't break it, the tech guys will probably break it switching them back, because these keys are not like the ones in the tech lab where I can just pop it off and put it back on. They break easily. Don't pry at it with your fingernails. Don't pry at it with a pen, anything like that. These keys break easily, and when they do, they're not going to replace the keyboard. The tech guys cannot fix the keys without replacing the whole keyboard. They won't replace them. So, everybody understand that? Okay, these are brand new. We want to use them for at least 5 years before we have to start replacing them. So, we want to save them for the rest of everybody else. When you go to plug them in, the power source or the power plug-in isn't round like they normally are. It looks like a USB port. Everybody look at it. It looks like a USB port. It is not a USB port. You can see the plug-ins are rectangle just like the USB ports. Okay? And you've got this little phone jack for an internet cable right next to it. And I found when I was updating them that I kept trying to plug into that little phone jack. It is not going to be charging if you do that. So make sure you pay attention to where you plug that in at, because the batteries only have about 4 hours to them, and that's not enough time for everybody to use them all day long. So make sure you're plugging the power source in correctly. Let's see, what else? These computers have a metal band around them, unlike those other laptops in the other labs. They're kind of rubbery, so you get a little skip and they're a little hard to get out, or you have to push them in. Doesn't need a gorilla pull or a gorilla push. I nearly dropped the first one I took out because it slid out so easily. So just be careful when you're taking them in and out. Okay? If you drop one of these, it's probably broken. Let's see. Now, if you guys look on your desktop, you guys will be using the Renaissance. Usually you see that little pyramid icon. it's no longer there. It's just a little paper icon that says RL on it. And that'll take you to Renaissance without having to use the URL and going into, so it'll take you directly there. So that's where that's at. Then in the accessories, there's little sticky notes called sticky notes. I like them to use them on my desktop. If you use them and you make little notes to yourself, nobody else is going to be able to see them. It's under your H drive, your sign-in. It's all personal to you, so those are always handy to use. And that's about it. Oh, except when I did update these, I turned all the volumes down. So if you have to use a pair of headphones on it, you're not going to be able to hear nothing. Just turn your volume up. That's what's wrong with it. And that's about it. Any questions?
Oh, these prints.
Oh yeah, the printer. These will print, but it'll go to this printer on top of the lab. It will not go to the tech lab or the library. Okay? Somebody did ask me if they can put a mouse on this. I think if you got a USB mouse, usually it will just do. But if you have to have a driver for your mouse, you cannot put that mouse on here. You cannot download anything to these computers. And of course you don't want to leave your homework or whatever you're working on the desktop, on the hard drive. You want to use your H drive.
And Tina, can you also reiterate about taking the computers out of the lab, the concern of not pulling that cord too far out?
Right. These cords, you know, they have on the power cords you have a box. One cord goes to your computer, the other cord goes to the wall socket. That cord that goes to your computer will pull out quite easily. So, like I said, it doesn't take a gorilla pull, it doesn't take a gorilla push. Just be careful with them. If you notice that your computer isn't, the battery isn't charging, it's probably because you pulled that cord out or somebody before you pulled that cord too hard. And so we can fix that, but let's try not to do that because once these batteries are dead, I think it took, I don't know, about 5 hours for them to all charge up when I had to update them. So it does take a while for these to charge up. Any questions? Okay, that's it.
Just to remind you and only 6 other people or 5 other people will have this computer for the entire year. So, because my other classes also have 1 computer checked out. So what that means is if we've got issues on the computer, we can limit pretty quickly to know who specifically has been on that computer, all right? So just be very conscious of the way that you're using our computers. Obviously, all the rules apply in terms of sites you can and cannot hit. All of you are aware of what those are. Don't try and hit something that you know you should not be on, a place you should not go, all right? Questions, comments?